Before the world knew their names, before the fame, the scandal, and the kiss that broke the internet, there was just a girl from the streets of South Africa and a boy born into the coldest K-pop dynasty in Korea. She came to America with nothing but a dream and the rhythm of home in her footsteps. He arrived with everything: money, power, a name feared across industries. But inside, he was frozen, controlled, owned. When their worlds collided on the streets of Los Angeles, something impossible happened. A forbidden partnership, a viral explosion, and a love so dangerous it threatened an entire empire. This is the story of how an ice-cold K-pop heir and a fierce Blackstreet dancer shook two continents and rewrote their destinies. But every legend starts with a choice, and theirs began the moment he chose her. The night air in downtown Los Angeles hummed with sound. Traffic, laughter, street music, the restless heartbeat of a city that never slept. Under the neon glow of a flickering sign, Ayanda Mbeki, a 22-year-old South African street dancer, breathed in deeply as she prepared for her turn in the underground dance circle. Her dark brown skin glistened beneath the streetlights, and her tightly coiled hair was tied into a high puff that bounced when she moved. Her eyes, warm, sharp, and alive, told the world she wasn't just a dancer, she was a fighter, a dreamer, a girl carrying her mother's hopes and her own on her shoulders. Music thumped from a nearby speaker, sending rhythmic vibrations across the concrete ground. Ayanda exhaled, letting the beat seep into her bones. Tonight's battle mattered. It always mattered. Her aunt's basement rental was 3 months late. She needed prize money. She needed visibility. She needed a miracle. And miracles were rare in LA. But Ayanda danced anyway. Not too far away, stepping out of a sleek black car and into the same sprawling night, was Lee Min-jun, the heir to South Korea's biggest K-pop conglomerate. He was only 23, but already a global sensation. Not because he wanted to be, but because he was born into it. His father was the legendary CEO who had built the company from dust. His mother, once a beloved actress, had now vanished from the spotlight entirely. And Min-jun? Min-jun was the son expected to be perfect. Perfect voice. Perfect face. Perfect discipline. Perfect future. Perfect heir. But real perfection was cold. And Min-jun had become colder than anyone expected. Tonight, he wasn't supposed to be in Los Angeles at all. He had a strict schedule. Bodyguards, managers, all of whom he'd slipped away from. He needed air. He needed space. He needed to breathe like a human being. And somehow, with no destination in mind, he wandered until the faint sound of street music tugged at his curiosity. He followed it. Something in the beat felt alive, something he hadn't felt in years. Ayanda stepped into the circle, ignoring the cheers and taunts. Her opponent, a tall guy with tattoos and an ego twice his size, smirked as he cracked his knuckles. Ready to lose, Africa Queen? He sneered. Ayanda narrowed her eyes. If only he knew who he was talking to. The beat dropped. And Ayanda moved. Her body flowed like liquid. Every motion hit sharp, precise angles before melting smoothly into the next. She flipped. Twisted. Hit isolations so clean the crowd screamed. She danced like the music lived inside her. She danced like she had nothing to lose and everything to prove. And that's when Min-jun saw her. He stopped walking. Stopped thinking. He simply watched. Her movements pulled him in, bold, expressive, powerful. A freedom he didn't know existed. He had seen thousands of professional dancers. He had trained with the best choreographers money could buy. But this girl? This girl danced with soul. Min-jun's heart, usually frozen and obedient, felt something strange. A flicker of warmth. A tiny crack in the ice. He blinked, confused. "Who is she?" he whispered. Ayanda landed her final move with a thunderous stomp, and the crowd erupted. Even her opponent stepped back, humbled. But in the cheering chaos, Ayanda noticed someone at the edge of the crowd. A guy. Standing impossibly still. Wearing a black cap, black hoodie, black mask, yet somehow giving off an unmistakable aura of quiet intensity. His eyes caught hers. Dark, sharp, cold, but curious. She frowned. Why was he staring at her like that? Min-jun didn't look away. For someone used to hiding behind walls of control, he felt strangely exposed. Her gaze seemed to cut past his mask, straight into him, something no fan, no coworker, no family member had ever done. Ayanda raised a brow. "Can I help you?" she asked, stepping out of the circle and grabbing her water. Minjun took a second before answering, as if every word required careful calculation. "You're good," he said quietly. Ayanda snorted. "That's it? After staring like you're about to kidnap me?" A small huff slipped from him. Was that almost a laugh? Minjun wasn't sure. "I've never seen someone dance like that," he said. "And you're wearing a mask like you're running from the police," she shot back. Minjun hesitated. He almost said, "I'm famous," but something stopped him. He didn't want this girl to see him the way the world did. "I'm just keeping a low profile," he said instead. "Aha," she replied, unconvinced. "Well, mystery man, thanks for the compliment." He nodded but didn't walk away. Ayanda squinted. "Why are you still standing there?" He swallowed. "I don't know." Minjun didn't understand what was happening. He had never stopped for strangers. Never lingered in unfamiliar places. Never cared about things outside of work. But tonight felt different. Ayanda wiped sweat from her forehead. She didn't know who this guy was, but she could feel something, a tension she couldn't name, a pull she couldn't explain. "Do you dance?" she asked suddenly. He froze. "I did," he answered softly. "A long time ago." "Then why stop?" Minjun looked away. The streetlights reflected in his eyes, revealing the heaviness behind them. "Because dancing stopped being mine," he whispered. Ayanda felt something twist inside her chest. This stranger wasn't cold. He was hurting. She didn't know why she felt concern for someone she just met, someone covered head to toe in secrecy, but she did. "Then take it back," she said. He looked at her, startled. "As if it's that simple." "It is," she replied. "You just don't believe it yet." Her words hung in the air between them, soft but powerful. Minjun didn't move, didn't speak. He simply stared at her like she had said something no one had ever dared to tell him. Because no one had. Not his father. Not his managers. Not his company. Not even himself. Ayanda glanced at the crowd dispersing and began packing her small backpack. "I have to go," she said. Something inside Minjun panicked. He didn't want this moment to end. Wait. He caught himself. Why was he acting like this? Ayanda turned to him. He cleared his throat. "Will you be here again tomorrow?" She raised a brow, amused. "Are you asking me on a date, mask boy?" His ears burned beneath the cap. "No," he replied quickly, too quickly. "I just want to watch you dance again." Ayanda smiled, not mocking but warm. "Then maybe I'll be here." She paused. "Maybe." She walked away, leaving Minjun standing alone. For the first time in years, he felt something alive inside him. A flutter. A spark. A warmth. Something he couldn't name. But he knew one thing. He wanted to see her again. Minjun didn't sleep. He lay in a luxurious LA penthouse suite, the kind of place most people would dream of, staring at the ceiling, but all he saw was her. Ayanda. The girl with fire in her feet and courage in her voice. He had come to America to breathe, but instead, he had collided with something that made him feel alive for the first time in years. Every moment replayed in his mind. Her confidence, her strength, the way she called him mask boy, like she wasn't afraid of who he might be. Nobody talked to him that way. Nobody saw him as normal. But she didn't know him. And somehow, that made her the only person who truly could. The next evening, Minjun stood at the same street corner far earlier than necessary. No mask this time. Just a cap pulled low and a black hoodie. He waited. He told himself he wasn't anxious, but he was. Deeply. What if she didn't come? What if last night was nothing to her? What if he'd already messed up something he didn't even understand yet? He was still lost in his thoughts when the music started. And then, he heard her laugh. Ayanda arrived with two friends, fellow dancers, chattering and teasing her about last night's win. She noticed him instantly. He stood out even when he tried not to. Something about the way he held himself, quiet, guarded, observant, made him look like he carried secrets in his bones. "You," she said, pointing as she approached. "I wasn't sure you'd show up." "I wasn't sure you would," he replied. She smirked. "Then we're even." Her friends stared between them, sensing something unusual. "Girl, who's that?" one whispered. "No idea," Ayanda murmured back. "But he's giving mysterious kdrama energy." Minjun stiffened slightly. He heard that. Ayanda giggled at his reaction. "So, Mask Boy returns for round 2. "No mask today," he said quietly. "Congratulations," she teased. "Your face is finally free." He didn't smile, but something softened in his expression. Ayanda noticed. So, she said, you came to watch again? If you're dancing, he replied, then yes. The words came out honest. Too honest. Ayanda felt a little jolt in her chest but shook it off. Fine, she said. Watch me work. Tonight, she didn't battle. She just danced, freely, joyfully, like she wasn't performing but simply being. And Min-jin? He couldn't look away. Her movements were sunshine, warm, expressive. His world had always been shadows, expectations, pressure, cold perfection. But watching her, he felt thought. Alive. Human. Every spin, every flip, every rhythm was a language he understood but had forgotten. When the song ended, Ayanda jogged toward him, panting lightly. So, she asked. So what? He replied, pretending he didn't know what she meant. So how was it? He looked at her, and for the first time, he didn't hide. It was beautiful, he said. Ayanda blinked. The honesty in his voice hit her harder than she expected. Well, thanks. She cleared her throat. Most people say cool or dope, but okay. He tilted his head. But it is beautiful. She didn't know why her heart suddenly beat faster. As the crowd faded, Ayanda sat on a low stone wall, sipping water. Min-jin stood near her, unsure if he should sit. She patted the space beside her. You can sit, you know, I don't bite. He hesitated, then Saturday. Close enough to feel her warmth. Close enough to smell the faint vanilla scent of her skin. Where are you from, mystery man? She asked. He tensed. Korea, he answered carefully. Seoul. Ooh. Fancy, she teased. What brings you all the way to Los Angeles? A long silence. Ayanda instantly regretted asking. Sorry, too personal. No, he said softly. I just needed space. She nodded slowly. From what? Another long pause. Everything. Ayanda said nothing. She didn't push. Didn't pry. She simply sat with him, offering silent understanding, something he wasn't used to. Her quiet acceptance hit him harder than any question could have. You're different, he said suddenly. Ayanda turned to him. How so? You're not trying to get something from me. She frowned. What could I possibly be trying to get? His chest tightened. She really didn't know. No reason, he murmured. Just people usually want something. Well, she said with a half smile, I'm not people. And for the first time, Min-jin smiled. A small, real smile. Ayanda's breath caught. He was beautiful. Not in the polished idol way she'd seen on screens, she still didn't know she was sitting beside that kind of guy, but in a quiet, lonely way. Like someone who had been frozen for too long. You said you danced before, Ayanda said gently. Will you ever dance again? He didn't respond for a long time. I'm not allowed, he finally whispered. Her eyebrows shot up. That's a weird thing to say. How can you be not allowed to dance? My father, he began, then stopped himself. Ayanda waited patiently. He doesn't want me to dance freely, Min-jin continued slowly. Only the way the company approves. Only what fits the brand. Nothing messy. Nothing real. Ayanda felt something ache for him. Dancing is supposed to set you free, she said quietly. Not cage you. He looked at her, deeply, intensely. I don't remember what freedom feels like, he confessed. Ayanda's heart broke just a little. You can remember, she said. Start small. Start with one step. He shook his head. It's complicated. Everything is, she replied gently. But complicated doesn't mean impossible. Min-jin swallowed. Her words felt like sunlight cracking through everything he had been forced to bury. Ayanda stood suddenly. Come, she said. Where? He asked, startled. To dance. His eyes widened. No. I can't. It's been years. Exactly, she said. You're overdue. Before he could protest, she grabbed his hand. A shock ran through him. Her skin was warm. Soft. Human. The kind of warmth he hadn't been allowed to feel in a long time. Relax, she said, pulling him toward the empty part of the street. Trust me. No one had ever said those words to him in such a simple, genuine way. He let her guide him. He didn't fight it. Ayanda put on a slow, rhythmic beat. Nothing intense. Just something gentle, soulful. Close your eyes, she said. He hesitated. I'll be right here. I promise. He closed his eyes. Now, just breathe. He did. Feel the music, she whispered. Don't think. Don't perfect it. Don't perform. Just feel. The beat sank into his chest, soft, steady, warm. And then, his shoulders relaxed. His hands loosened. His body swayed, slightly, awkwardly, but honestly. Ayanda smiled softly. That's it. He opened his eyes slowly and she was smiling at him. Something inside him melted so quietly he almost didn't notice. When the song ended, Min-jin released a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. How was it? She asked softly. It felt like breathing, he whispered. Ayanda's chest tightened. She hadn't expected that answer. He looked at her as though she had returned something he thought he'd lost forever. And for the first time in years, he felt warm. Really warm. Ayanda, he said. Yes. Can I see you again, tomorrow? She held his gaze. His voice wasn't demanding. It wasn't controlling. It wasn't entitled. It was sincere. Quiet. Hopeful. The way someone sounds when they desperately want something but are afraid to ask for it. Ayanda nodded. Yeah, Min-jin, she whispered. You can. And in that moment, something new began. Something fragile. Something real. Something neither of them expected. But both of them felt. For the next week, it became their quiet ritual. Every evening at 7, Min-jin showed up at the same street corner, hoodie on, cap low, carrying 2 bottles of cold water, one for him, one for her. And every evening at 7:30, Ayanda arrived, her smile lighting up the night before she even opened her mouth. At first, they talked awkwardly. Min-jin wasn't used to conversations that didn't revolve around rehearsals, schedules, or business. But Ayanda? She talked about life. Home. Her mother's cooking. African music she loved. Her dreams of being a professional choreographer. He listened, quietly, intently, like no one had ever spoken to him like this before. And slowly he opened up. Not completely, but more than he'd ever opened up to anyone. She learned he loved jazz piano. That he used to sneak into empty practice rooms just to play alone. That he hated the way fame turned people into strangers. And she learned he wasn't cold. Just lonely. Painfully, heartbreakingly lonely. The closer they grew, the more Min-jin felt the weight of the one thing he hadn't told her. His identity. Every time she joked about him being mysterious, a knot twisted in his stomach. Every time her friends asked why he spoke like someone who learned English from K-dramas, he looked away. He wanted to tell her. He really did. But Ayanda was the only person in the world who treated him like a human being, not an idol, not a product, not the heir of a giant entertainment empire. He was terrified that once she knew who he really was, everything would change. She would pull away. She would treat him differently. She would stop calling him Mask Boy and start calling him Sir or Sunbeam, or worse, she would disappear altogether. So he stayed quiet. And silence slowly became a secret. One evening, Ayanda arrived late, 30 minutes later than usual. She looked tired. Sad. Her usually bright eyes were dimmer, her shoulders heavy. Min-jin stood up instantly. What happened? He asked. She sat down beside him slowly, staring at the pavement. I got a call from my aunt, she whispered. She needs to move out of her apartment. The landlord's raising the rent and she can't afford it. He listened silently as her voice trembled. She took me in when I came to the US, she continued. She works 2 jobs. She's done everything she can for me. And now she has nowhere to go. Min-jin felt his chest tighten painfully. And the worst part? Ayanda whispered. She doesn't want to tell me to leave, but I know I'm the reason the bills have been hard. She looked up at him, eyes filled with guilt and fear. I don't know what to do. For a long moment, he didn't speak. He wanted to help, desperately. He wanted to solve everything for her. His instinct was to say, I can pay for everything. I can fix this. Let me take care of you. But he couldn't. If he revealed who he was, even for good intentions, everything about them would change. So instead, he said quietly, I'm sorry you're going through this. Ayanda nodded, her voice trembling. I'll figure something out. I always do. But even she didn't sound convinced. Without thinking, Min-jin reached out. His fingers brushed hers, gently, hesitantly. Ayanda looked down at their hands. You're warm, she whispered. So are you, he said softly. She squeezed his hand, holding it like he was the only solid thing in her world. And in that moment, Minjin made a silent promise. I will protect you, even if you never know who I really am. 2 nights later, Ayanda was practicing a new routine, sweat dripping down her brow. Your turn, she said breathlessly. My turn, he echoed. Yes. Don't act like you forgot how to move after a week. He sighed dramatically. You enjoy torturing me. Dance, she insisted. He reluctantly started moving, and for a moment, everything was perfect. Until someone shouted across the street. Oh my God, is that Minjin? Ayanda froze. Minjin's blood went cold. A group of tourists rushed toward them, phones out. Is that really you? Take off the cap. Can we get a picture? Please say something in Korean. Ayanda stared at Minjin, shocked. Wait, Lee Minjin? As in, the K-pop guy everyone loves? You're that Minjin? He swallowed hard. Ayanda, I can explain. You lied to me. The hurt in her voice hit him like a stab. No, he said quickly. I didn't lie, I just didn't tell. That's the same thing. Panic grew in his chest as the crowd got closer. Ayanda, please, he whispered desperately. I didn't want things to change between us. I didn't want you to disappear. She stepped back. Too late. And then, security guards in black suits came sprinting toward them. Ayanda, wait. But she was already walking away, tears burning in her eyes. And Minjin? Minjin could only watch as the only person who ever made him feel alive disappeared into the night. Back at the penthouse, Minjin sat in silence. The guards lectured him. His manager screamed over the phone. His father sent him a single cold message. We will discuss your irresponsibility in Seoul. But none of it mattered. The warmth Ayanda brought into his life was gone. His chest felt tight, painfully so. His hands shook. He didn't cry. He never cried. But that night, he came close. He replayed every moment with her, every laugh, every dance, every look, and felt the crushing weight of losing her. He had spent his whole life being perfect. Perfect idol. Perfect heir. Perfect mask. But with her, he had been human. And now, he had ruined it. Ayanda arrived home, slamming the door shut. Her aunt jumped. Baby, what happened? Ayanda collapsed onto the couch, shaking her head. I was getting close to someone, she whispered. Someone I thought was different. Tears rolled down her cheeks. But he was lying. The whole time. Her aunt rubbed her back gently. People lie for many reasons, she said softly. Sometimes out of fear. Sometimes out of love. Ayanda wiped her tears angrily. I trusted him. And do you still care for him? Her aunt asked gently. Ayanda hesitated. Yes, she whispered. Her aunt sighed knowingly. Then your heart's not done speaking yet. Ayanda looked at the ceiling, tears sliding into her hairline. I don't know if I can forgive him. Her aunt squeezed her hand. Then wait until you know. The next day, a trending headline appeared across social media. LYX heir Lee Minjin spotted dancing intimately with unknown black woman in LA. Ayanda's heart dropped. Photos of her, from behind, blurry, but recognizable, were everywhere. Comments were vicious. Why her? He could do better. She doesn't match him. She's using him. Clout chaser. Ayanda felt her stomach twist. People she didn't know were tearing her apart. She shut off her phone, tears streaming down her face. This wasn't her world. She never wanted fame. She never wanted attention. She just wanted him. And now everything was crashing down around her because of it. The room is dim. Minjin sits alone on the floor, knees pulled to his chest, his hoodie up. The music has stopped. His breathing is shaky. He flashes back, years ago, in Seoul. In a practice room, dancing until he collapses to the floor. Sweat drips from his jaw. His father stands over him, stone-faced, and said, You don't get to rest just because you're tired. Heirs don't get tired. They win. He returns to present as he remembered that and whispers to himself. If I stop, I lose everything. A soft knock on the door. A gentle voice. It was Ayanda. She steps in slowly, wearing a hoodie and sweatpants, as if ready to practice but also ready to comfort. Hey, you disappeared. You okay? Ayanda asked. Minjin wipes his face quickly, too quickly, and replied. Yeah. Just practicing. You're lying, she said as she sat beside him. I used to sit like that when life was too heavy. So, what's heavy for you? Min Jin stiffens. Vulnerability is dangerous to him. You don't have to worry about me, he said to her. But I want to, Ayanda replied. He looks at her. That sentence hits him harder than anything his father ever threw. Can I show you something? She stands, pulls out her phone, plays a South African street dance beat. She starts moving, smooth, grounded, expressive. Her dance is joy, freedom, emotion. She finishes and extends her hand to him. Your turn, she said. No technique. No rules. Just feel. Min Jin hesitates. Then he takes her hand. She pulls him up gently, placing his hands on her shoulders. Close your eyes, she whispered. He does. Now let your body say everything your mouth refuses to. He exhales, long, shaky. And then he moves. Not perfectly. Not coldly. Not like the air he's trained to be. But like someone trying to feel again. Ayanda watches him, her eyes soft. She whispers. There you are. He opens his eyes, and their faces are close. Very close. But before anything happens, Ayanda clears her throat abruptly and steps back. Okay. Great session. Very expressive. Very freeing. Yeah, good night. She rushes out, flustered. Min Jin watches her go, hands still warm from where she held him. Ayanda has just rushed out, flustered, after helping Min Jin tap into his emotions through dance. Min Jin stands alone in the quiet room, breathing slowly, trying to process everything he felt. For the first time, he isn't afraid of the emotion in his body. But he is afraid of what it means, especially because it came from her. He stood, staring at the empty doorway Ayanda left through. Min Jin said, softly, to himself. What are you doing to me? He touches his chest, his heart is still beating faster than usual. He doesn't understand the feeling, but he can't deny it. Outside, he sees Ayanda walking across the courtyard, hugging her arms around herself, shaking her head at how flustered she became. A tiny smile forms on his lips. You're the only person who makes me feel anything at all. He doesn't realize his father has been trying to call him. The phone buzzes multiple times on the floor, ignored. Ayanda and Min Jin walk side by side along a bustling street. Street performers and graffiti create a vivid urban canvas. A flyer flutters past them. Ayanda catches it. Hey, look at this. She holds it up. Bright letters read. Underground Street Dance Battle, International Qualifiers. Prize, spotlight performance and sponsorship. Her eyes sparkle. This could be it. A real stage. Real recognition. Not some rehearsal room. Min Jin studies the flyer, brow furrowed. He said. Sounds chaotic. Exactly. That's the point. You've been perfect for too long. Time to show who you really are, Ayanda replied. He glances at her, hesitation mixed with excitement. Then, we do it, together. She grins, tugging him toward the community dance studio for practice. The room is filled with mirrors, worn wooden floors, and the faint smell of sweat and chalk. Ayanda starts moving to an Afrobeat rhythm. This is how we feel it. Every step. Every glance. Emotion first. Technique follows. Ayanda said. Min Jin watches for a moment, then begins, precise, sharp, K-pop trained moves. Ayanda, laughing at him, said. Stop thinking. Feel. He hesitates, then a shift occurs. His body begins to mirror her energy. The movement is messy but raw. Yes. That's it. That's alive. The chemistry grows, steps intertwine, spins flow, lifts sink, a fusion of her fire and his ice. They collapse on the floor laughing, breathless. I never thought I could dance like this. Min Jin said excitedly. Ayanda replied with a smile. You're learning from the best. A passerby takes a video of them rehearsing outside the studio. Within hours, the video goes viral. Comments flood in. Who is this girl? That's Min Jin in Los Angeles. Their chemistry is insane. Ayanda sees the comments. Her excitement is tinged with concern. We're trending, she says. Min Jin frowns. Not all attention is good attention. My father will see this. Ayanda squeezes his hand and said. Then let's make it worth it. Min Jin returns, tense. Social media alerts show the viral dance video. A knock. The door opens. Min Jin's father steps in, sleek, intimidating, imposing. Do you understand what you've done? Public exposure, viral media, reckless behavior. He questions Min Jin. Min Jin stands firm and replied, "I'm done hiding. I'm done being your perfect heir and ruining everything our family has built." His father echoed, "I'm not ruining anything. I'm living." Ayanda, standing behind him, remains calm yet protective. He has a right to live his life. Ayanda added. Mr. Seo's glare slices through the air. "This isn't over. You will regret this," Mr. Seo said angrily. He leaves, tension thick in the room. Ayanda and Min Jin stood there, exhausted. "I lied to you. About everything," Min Jin said to her. "I know, and I don't care," Ayanda replied. "I didn't want you to leave. I've never had someone stay after seeing me as I am. Then I will stay." He looks into her eyes, vulnerability finally showing. "I think I'm falling for you," Min Jin told her. "I already have," Ayanda replied with a smile. They reach for each other. The connection is raw, real, and intimate. It was the open-air street festival day. Min Jin and Ayanda seriously rehearsing for their moves. The competition organizers scout the teams. Min Jin and Ayanda set up, moving through warm-ups and last-minute choreography. Their nerves are high. Competitors eye them skeptically, especially when they realize one is a famous K-pop heir. Competitor 1. That's Min Jin? Seriously? Competitor 2. This is gonna be insane. Ayanda whispers. Focus on us. Not them. Min Jin nods. For the first time, he's dancing for himself, not perfection, not obligation. The competition begins. The streets are lit by neon lights and camera flashes. Crowds gather, filming. Ayanda and Min Jin rehearse their opening moves. The pressure is intense. Ayanda whispered. Remember fire and ice. Balance it. I've got this. Because of you. The music starts, Afrobeat fused with K-pop. They move flawlessly, emotion and precision intertwining. The crowd erupts. Social media clips explode online. Min Jin's father watches from a private area, fuming but unable to stop them. The performance ends. Ayanda and Min Jin breathe heavily, smiles wide. The crowd cheers. We did it! Exclaimed Ayanda. We really did it! Min Jin replied excitedly. He pulls her close, their hands entwined. I'm done hiding. I don't care what he thinks anymore. Then let's keep moving forward together. Ayanda whispered. They walk off into the city lights, stronger, united, and free from the constraints of fame, expectations, and fear. Social media explodes with clips from their viral rehearsal and first street performance. Headlines flash on smartphones. K-pop heir shocks Los Angeles with street dancing partner. Ayanda and Min Jin, the most unexpected dance duo. Family scandal brewing. Ayanda scrolls, her eyes wide. We are trending and not all of it is good. Ayanda whispered to Min Jin. Min Jin looks tense, fists clenched. I knew this would happen. My father, he'll use this. Then we handle it together. Like we've handled everything else. Ayanda replied. He glances at her, appreciating her confidence, drawing courage from it. Later that afternoon, crowds gather for the international street dance qualifiers. Performers stretch, warm up, and eye each other competitively. Suddenly, a black luxury SUV pulls up. Min Jin's father steps out, sharp and imposing, flanked by 2 assistants. Mr. Seo coldly said. Min Jin. You will stop this nonsense. Now. Min Jin stands tall, ignoring the murmurs from the crowd. No. I'm not stopping. His father steps closer. Do you understand what you're risking? Your reputation. Our family. Everything. I understand. But this time, I choose myself. Ayanda steps beside him, hand firmly in his. A hush falls over the crowd. The tension is palpable. Mr. Seo, fuming. This isn't over. He storms away, leaving the duo to focus on their performance. It was finally time. Ayanda and Min Jin stretch, review moves, and take a deep breath. Ready? Ayanda asked Min Jin. Min Jin, smiling slightly. As I'll ever be. They look into each other's eyes, silent communication, mutual trust, and love blooming amidst chaos. Let's show them who we really are. The streets are alive with music, neon lights, and an excited crowd. Cameras record for live streaming. Afrobeat and K-pop fusion music begins. Ayanda's fire ignites the crowd with dynamic spins, flips, and expressive moves. Min Jin's precision complements her, blending technical K-pop choreography with raw street emotion. They dance as one, fluid, powerful, and magnetic. Every step tells their story: struggle, connection, freedom. The crowd erupts. Social media explodes. Min Jin's father watches from afar, his expression conflicted: shock, disbelief, and a hint of pride. As the music climaxes, they execute a complex lift, symbolizing trust, unity, and triumph. The music stops. Silence. Then, thunderous applause and cheers. Ayanda and Min Jin stand, hands clasped, breathing hard, smiles wide. They've done it. Mr. Seo approaches after the performance, his usual stern demeanor softened. Mr. Seo, quietly. I underestimated you. Both of you. Min Jin exhales, wary but hopeful. I'm not just your heir. I'm me. And I won't apologize for that. Mr. Seo nods slowly, a small smile breaking through. Then, keep being you. But be careful. Ayanda squeezes Min Jin's hand, sensing the tension release. Looks like we survived your father, right? Min Jin, smiling. Barely. They laugh softly, relief and joy mingling in the night air. The city lights shimmer below. Ayanda and Min Jin sit together, legs dangling over the edge, holding hands. We did it. We really did it. Min Jin said. We did it together. Replied Ayanda. No more hiding. No more pretending. Just us. They lean in. Softly, slowly, their first kiss under the stars, triumphant and intimate. The music of the streets, distant beats, laughter, and life, fills the air. Min Jin whispers. This is freedom. Ayanda replied. And love. They smile, knowing the world is still complicated, but together they can face anything.
This feels like freedom.
Then let's stay free together.